Hi, I'm Heather, professional makeup artist here at Luminous. And today our question comes from Mikey from Florida. And she asked, did I order the wrong shade and what can I do? Well, Mikey, before we get to your question, I want to make sure that you guys subscribe to our channel. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, and that way you do get the latest on our pro tips. And we do go in and we answer these questions that you submit to us. So you can also submit questions to us at beautybar@luminousair.com. So if you do have any questions, go ahead and send them our way. Our question from Mikey, did I order the wrong shade? What can I do? There's a couple of points that I want to talk about in shade matching and if you did get the wrong shade. When you get your starter kit, you do want to make sure that you shake them up. You want to shake them up for a good 30 seconds to make sure that all that pigment is blended throughout your bottle. Then you can take your shades and on a clean face, put a drop just like that and pretend this is my face. I can put a drop there, just right on the cheek. And I'm going to take this one and do it here and right there. So what you'll do is see which one best fits your face, best fits your shade. It might not look like a perfect match, and this is why. We are shade matching, color matching like traditional makeup. This is airbrush makeup, so you're applying it differently, but for right now, we're going to shade match like traditional, and that's putting the drop on the finger and swiping it right here on your cheek. You're going to find which one is the closest to you. You can do this for each shade, that's fine, but look at and see, okay, which one works better. So I'm gonna pick this one. When applying the foundation, so once you pick your shade, you get your foundation, you can put a couple of drops right in there, put your cap on, and then you're going to airbrush the foundation on a clean face. Now, what I find is that when most people start out, you're applying the airbrush foundation like you would traditional foundation, and that's not the case. You need to make sure that you apply it like airbrush, right? So let's go ahead and I'm going to wipe some of my makeup off so we can go through that. So I'll wipe a little bit off on this side. There we go. And I'll go ahead and color match again. Let me do it here. I'll do it one swipe. And then my other shade, swipe. So you're going, neither one looks perfect, but I'm going to pick the one that I think will work the best. Okay. So I'm going to start with this one right there. So I'm going to wipe that off, dry that off a little bit since I wiped it with a makeup cloth. And I'm going to put my drops right in my stylus, right in here. Now, when you first start, you might apply it like traditional makeup, and meaning you do it this way. What that is doing, or what I'm doing at this point, is I'm spraying it too hard. Obviously, it doesn't look great because I am applying it too much, too fast in one area. So you can tell like this is wet. It just doesn't look good. So let me wipe this off. I'm going to put a couple more drops in there. Start my system. And applying it the correct way, applying it like airbrush, I want to make sure that I stay 4 finger widths away. I'm going to keep moving and barely pull back. If you pull back too hard on this trigger or pull back too much on this trigger, it's going to release too much makeup. With traditional makeup, you're used to seeing that opaqueness instantly. With airbrush makeup, you want it to be more like magic. Okay, so you want to pull back super light on the trigger. So if I'm applying it to this area here, I'm keeping it 4 finger widths away. I'm going to keep moving. And barely pulling back on that trigger. I get my coverage by making passes, but as you can see, that looks like a perfect match. Airbrush makeup works with your skin, so it does let your skin shine through along with the airbrush makeup. That's why it will never, if you're applying it the correct way, it'll never look heavy, cakey, wet. It should dry instantly on how you're applying it. So if you're new to airbrush, the first step is to color match. And that's by putting a little drop on your finger, wiping it on a makeup-free face. Pick which one you feel is the closest, and then put your drops in your system. And then you will apply it in an airbrush way, not a traditional way. So make sure you are staying 4 finger widths away, that you keep moving that stylus, and that you are barely pulling back on that trigger. So if you have that down, and if you're like, I still think that I have the wrong shade, then you're gonna call customer service. And I'm gonna put that number right here. And we do have a 100% color match guarantee, meaning if you did get the wrong shade, you can call customer service and they're going to send you the correct shade. So make sure you do all those steps. They'll always walk you through it as well, but make sure you do call customer service and you can get the correct shade sent to you. One last thing I want to touch on is if I put that on and let's say it was a little bit too dark, if I'm like, well, I don't know, it might have been too dark, you can always mix shades. So if I have my darker shade, where'd my darker shade go? Here it is. My darker shade in there, and I'm like, okay, that was a little bit too dark. I can grab my lighter shade and put a drop or two in there in the same bowl, turn it on, and then I'm going to mix that together. So with the system on, I'm going to plug up the air and lightly pull back on my trigger. And what this is doing, it's mixing everything in here for you. It's called back bubbling, but it'll mix all that together so you're not making a mess everywhere. And then you can go in and start airbrushing that perfect shade. Now, another thing that you'll find out is you don't have to wipe this off to correct it. That is how forgiving airbrush makeup is. So make sure you're applying it the right way. If you need to mix, you can do so. If you still think you have the wrong shade, call customer service and they're going to help walk you through these steps again and make sure you have the right shade. Well, Mikey, I hope that answers your question on whether or not you have the correct shade. You can always reach out to customer service. They'll walk you through the process as well and send you the correct shades if needed. But keep in mind, guys, we are here to answer your questions. If you do have any questions, submit those to beautybar@luminousair.com and we can answer your questions on the next pro tip. I hope you guys have a great day and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.